in addition to being athletic, UFC fighters also tend to be a little bit whiter and or more international than the NFL, which is very black. Let's just come out and say.
Do you remember masks? Weren't masks whistles, dog whistles, like coded messaging, right? Not being able to say the quiet part out loud. Now it's just straight up. They're like, oh, white people are being replaced. CRT equals diversity, which equals, the replacement of the white race, and inferior cultures. Western culture is the most superior to, like, all this shit. They're just saying it all out loud now. I think this story is just interesting because of how much people have put into the fact that, I don't know whether or not you give any special powers to this theory, but a lot of people have really started thinking that Sean Strickland, the UFC fighter, is decidedly taking it to the rainbow havers, the LGBTQ plus, by saying that they're trying to harm kids and stuff. Not new. None of this is new. This is old shit. But they're trying their best. And so a lot of people are getting upset about this, including the fact that Sean Strickland just lost his big fight. I can't show you because of the copyright. I'll get copyright strikes, so you can't watch the fight itself. But yeah, so Sean Strickland just lost his last fight after going on a bit of a rant.
Let me know. Are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is a part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Let's talk about politics and the UFC. If you guys watch UFC at all, which I personally don't, but I've mentioned this before, my husband Liam, he's pretty into it. You'll know that out of any other sport, UFC is probably the most open and accepting of athletes being right-wing or conservative. And I think
it's kind of a weird way of saying that it's the most open and accepting of athletes not being open and accepting of other people. Yeah, so it's the most open and accepting of people who don't want to be open and accepting. So there's that.
Several reasons for that. Number one, Dana White, the head honcho behind the whole operation, he himself is pretty far from a leftist. So I think someone like that being in charge, it makes a lot of fighters feel comfortable sharing their own views, knowing that it's not someone, I don't know, like Megan Rapinoe, who's going to be in charge of determining their next paycheck. And secondly, if we just look at who the athletes participating in the UFC are, it's pretty clear that, these are frankly high T males for the most part. And there have been studies out there that show that the more someone works out, the more they go to a gym, the more likely they are to have right-wing views. And obviously some people will say, well, football is super athletic, obviously, but they're a bunch of lefties, which is like, okay, fair point. But in response to that, I'd say that in addition to being athletic, UFC fighters also tend to be a little bit whiter and or more international than the NFL, which is very black. Let's just come out and say.
It's like, don't get me wrong, you gotta laugh at the fash, but it is honestly, it is kind of frightening how fast everything is ramped up, how quickly, like, so many right-wingers have gone from being kind of like subtle, wearing masks. Do you remember masks? Weren't masks whistles, dog whistles, like coded messaging, right? Not being able to say the quiet part out loud. Now it's just straight up. They're like, oh, white people are being replaced. CRT equals diversity, which equals, the replacement of the white race, and inferior cultures. Western culture is the most superior to, like, all this shit. They're just saying it all out loud now.
And obviously black people are more likely, statistically speaking, to have left-wing views. Okay, I don't know what else to say there. And now the reason why I bring all of this up, aside from trying to encourage you all to turn off the football and turn on UFC, is because Sean Strickland, a big fighter in the league, he's been making headlines for, frankly, kind of pushing the limits of the fighting community's openness toward right-wing conservative views. This past
kind of sucks that you got to associate that all together, because all he's saying is just like unbridled, like basically playground tier homophobia, right? Being like, what, you gay, bro? Come on, bro, what are you, gay? Yeah? Oh, if you're gay, stay away from kids, bro. And it's like, everyone's asking you to stay away from queer kids, because by saying like, hey, everyone should stay away from kids, that's my argument. Why is that controversial? Yep, so queer kids exist, they go to school, All anyone is proposing is that they should feel as safe as any other kid who goes to school. That's it. That's the entirety of what the advocacy is for LGBTQ plus advocates in the realm of, like, you know, the school and education system. That's what they're advocating for. That's it. They should have equality. And it actually goes across the board, right? It's that LGBTQ plus people should have equality in the same way if you are not LGBTQ plus that you already have or you might take for granted. And that's, again, the advocacy that has been done on behalf of the LGBTQ plus movement. It's that they should not be discriminated against anymore by people who are not LGBTQ plus overwhelmingly.
Last week, a clip of Strickland.
Sometimes people who are LGBTQ want to join people who want to discriminate against LGBTQ plus people because elements of the LGBTQ plus they don't like.
At a press conference has gone viral after he had some pretty harsh words for a reporter.
Were you a COVID bank account stealer too? Were you on board with that?
No.
Are you left wing or right wing? Were you a Trudeau? We got one of the commies with the press. We got to know where this man stands. Were you not?
Like I remember seeing Joe Rogan and listening to his show and hearing him talk about how, like, oh, Canada's all fucked up now, right? Like, Canada, y'all went communist, and like Trudeau's like a full blown like hardcore commie, and that like he's like locking people's bank accounts and stuff like that. Like, no, not at all. He is not. No, he's a neoliberal. And I'm like, she's pretty both demonstratively and in practice and in speech too. He's never saying, like, you know, workers should own the means of production. It's usually like, you know, we need to have more ethical capitalism that can benefit all Canadians. That's how he speaks, like a neolib.
I think I'll ask the questions here.
Oh, he thinks he'll ask. Oh, we fucking know. Maybe I should just pass on this motherfucker. He's gonna go back. He's gonna go back and give my bank account information of Trudeau.
So for obvious reasons, that clip went viral, and there are a lot of people out there saying,
well, I don't know, by the way. Is that because you're giving money to like far right organizations, especially ones that have been like associated with terrorism? Is that it? Is that where like a lot of donations are going? Then maybe, yeah, there may be an investigation as to where exactly you're funneling funds. Yeah, I'm sure it's after a significant amount. It's not like random Canadians, and if they transfer $50 to $100 to $2,000 to each other, all of a sudden it's like, and then the Trudeau government comes in and steals all the money because they're communist bankers.
hang on, I'm not on board with what Trudeau was doing with the Canadian truckers, but still, didn't Sean Strickland come off a little bit abrasive to this guy who just wanted to ask a question? And to that, I will say, it's never a bad time to be hostile.
What was he actually saying? It was just that a word salad. It was a combination of a lot of different things. There was some QAnon stuff, some anti-vax stuff, some pro-trucker rallies, some like anti-Trudeau, fuck Trudeau shit. Like the whole thing just wrapped up into a whole little like I hate the queers package, you know. And it's obviously it's been making the rounds on a lot of right-wingers who are all just like, whoa, this guy's so based. I can't believe it. He finally called out wokeness and said he's not taking it anymore. And people cheered it, you know, and like Canadians were like, yeah.
About that. I care about you guys. I care about you guys being free. I care about you guys having freedom of speech.
Honestly, when did it become controversial? When did it become a right-wing standpoint or conservative at all to stand up for free speech and to stand up for fighting against government tyranny? That's what I really want to know. So if you ask me, anyone who's outraged about Sean Strickland and his Canadian comments, pretty nothing burger if you ask me. However, considering Sean Strickland, since we're talking about him, he has simultaneously said some other things that are more controversial about the LGBTQ community, which we'll be also looking at. But first, I do want to say a big thank you to today's
Man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part
Low
of the
T.
problem. You elected Justin
Low T
Trudeau.
males.
Like, would you fucking when he
It's true. So I don't know if you know this if you're not Canadian, but they actually studied a whole bunch of cum, like all the semen of Canadians, to find out exactly what levels were their testosterone to be able to analyze. I know there's other ways to find out how much testosterone you had. We had to do it through cum, okay? So they analyzed all the cum, and then they found out that apparently the low T beta males were the ones who were voting for Trudeau. And like the high T males, you know, the alphas, they were all voting conservative. They were going for the Conservative Party or even the more extreme parties, you know, some of the fascist parties and shit like that. But the low T males, yeah, all the betas, they were basically voting for Trudeau. Some of them were voting for like, you know, the NDP, which are like the Soc Dems, and then some of them were for the Greens. But basically where you'd expect to find, you know, the low testosterone beta males and their kind and where they belong in the hierarchy.
he sees the bank accounts, like you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone and has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
Regardless of whether you
So that all happened. The fight went down. It was a fight by determination, I believe. We need to win the optics battle. Sean Strickland's coach reacts to, is it Dricus Duplessis? Is that it? Or is it Dricus Duplessis? I'm not familiar with this fighter, so I'll listen to Joe Rogan explain.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Wow.
Never seen a bookie with a part-time job, my friend.
Wow. Interesting.
I
Interesting.
think me and Drake jinxed Strickland.
Yeah, he's the kiss of fucking death.
Very interesting. I
didn't swear it that
wonder how the people online feel about that. Because, you know, we're not scoring it while we're watching it. We're watching it. We're just having fun.
Do you think it's like rigged? Do you think it was like a bad decision? Was it a stolen match? Should it have gone to Strickland in this case? Did the culture wars play a little bit in the influence of whether or not people thought this fight was good or bad? Were people trying to win because they were trying to win the culture war physically? Could you smash the face of wokeness truly? Could that happen? And by the way, his opponent was from South Africa, but he was a white man from South Africa. I'm not trying to say that this actually was anything related to anything other than complete and utter nonsense, right? Like to have the UFC kind of just be like, our fighters can say whatever they want, just get out there, do your thing, and then for him to make a whole bunch of like really fucked up comments, and then this fight went down, and now people are kind of upset that like the bigot didn't win.
Were we wrong?
Man, we watched this more
It was
more
close, man.
It was
And then
good.
you got
I had 3-2.
The ref was bought out by Big Woke. Is there evidence of that? Have we seen this yet? Has anyone pointed out how much wokeness paid to win this battle?
who are these
The
judges? You
round.
know what I mean? You don't know
Fourth-
who these judges are.
Listen, 4th round, he did awesome. Wow.
I think Izzy or Bo Nickel eats these guys' lunch.
Interesting. Bro, how about him versus Hamzat?
Is Shavkat 185 or 170?
70.
70.
How about him versus Hamzat, UFC 300?
Ramadan.
Ooh, that's true. Fuck.
I know, right?
Will Hamzat fight in Ramadan? He's crazy.
Absolutely not.
No?
Nope.
Won't do it?
Nope.
Says he
How long
won't
is
do
that?
it?
When is that?
I think it's all of
April?
April, right?
Yep.
They would be fighting during Ramadan.
Yeah.
But can't you just sleep all day?
And then eat at night.
Yeah, can't you do
train
that?
At night.
Can't you just adjust
I
your
think it's
sleeping
really tough.
schedule?
Like Makachev said, absolutely not.
But I know that Bilal's done camps through Ramadan.
Yes.
Wow. Jamie, what do the people online think?
Pull it up, Jamie.
So I was seeing before a lot of the like Drickus talk, early rounds Drickus.
They gave the early rounds to Drickus?
Just in the commentary was a lot towards Drickus.
Really?
I'm just reading like the hashtag UFC 297 feed though. It's just flying by, so I'm just sort of trying to.
Interesting. They're going crazy in South Africa.
See a
Look
lot
at
of
that.
Strickland got cheated. Strickland won.
Who's
Very close.
who's
This is
saying
just
Strickland?
random names.
Random people.
They're going crazy in South Africa. Yeah, I imagine they're probably pretty excited. They're probably like, yeah, that was cool. Dana White, head of the UFC, says he defends Sean Strickland's anti-LGBTQ plus rant. He was baited. Baited.
The gate was 10.6 million Canadian, basically $8 million US.
Duplessis, I'm curious, did you have him winning that fight?
See who wants it.
I'm going through 20 minutes of this. I don't tell anyone to do anything. I don't try and control the other human beings. I say it all the time. We're in the fight business. If you get your feelings hurt, that's bad. You probably didn't ask the type of question when you know the answer you're going to get from Strickland. If you ask him, you know who he is. And if you ask him a certain question, he was baited into that question. It is what it is. It's the fight business. You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Sean Strickland went off at a reporter who pressed him on past comments about the LGBTQ plus community. I don't give anyone a leash. Free speech, control what people say. You're going to tell people what to believe. I don't fucking tell any human being what to say or what to think. There are no leashes on anyone. We had 2 gay women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland at the press conference. Oh, so he's got gay friends. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland says, what his beliefs are, or what his opinions are. Yeah, way to use the gay members of your community as props immediately, just like by default. Well, we did have a couple gay fighters. They stood on the same stage. They didn't say they were horrified or disgusted by him or his comments. So, plus. one could say safely.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.